welcome to my channel. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. I went to Laos to visit my aunt once. She lives kind of far from the main city in a small village where people still live in thatch houses. You know, those old style houses made out of straw and wood. Anyway, I hadn't been to visit her for years, so I figured it was about time I went back. See how she's doing? My family kept bugging me about it, so I finally caved in and made the trip. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Laos, but things are a bit different over there compared to here in the US, especially when it comes to funerals. In the States, when someone dies, we call the funeral home. They embalm the body, get it ready for viewing, and then we have the whole wake and burial thing, right? But in Laos, it's not like that at all. When someone dies, the family just brings the body right into the house. No embalming, nothing. They lay the body down right in the middle of the room, and that's where the funeral happens. Kind of intense if you ask me, but that's just how they do it. So I got to my aunt's place, and everything was going fine. It's quiet, village life. Not much to do but hang out, eat, and relax. A few days into my stay, though, something happened. Someone from the village went missing. People said he had gone into the forest to gather some firewood, but never came back. Everyone was talking about it. The whole village got together to search for him. They searched the forest for days. Eventually, they found him, but by then, it was too late. His body had already started decomposing. I didn't know the guy personally, but in a small village, news travels fast. The whole situation was pretty bad. The family originally planned to have a 3-day funeral, but because of how far gone the body was, they cut it down to just 1 day. They couldn't keep him around for too long, if you know what I mean. The smell was already something else. So, the day of the funeral, they brought his body back to his house. And guess what? His house was only 2 doors down from my aunt's place. Naturally, we went over there to pay our respects, as you do in a small village. I wasn't prepared for what I saw, though. They had the body lying right there in the middle of the room, like I said. No embalming or anything, just his decomposing body right out in the open. I'm telling you, it was something I'll never forget. His face, it was so swollen and the skin was already starting to turn dark. It didn't even look human anymore. Later that day, after the funeral was over, they buried him in the village cemetery. The cemetery wasn't too far from the village, maybe a 10-minute walk at most. I didn't think too much about it after that, just went back to my aunt's place, and life carried on as usual. A few days passed, and everything seemed normal again. That's when one of my cousins asked if I wanted to go with him to the next village over to talk to some girls. Typical stuff. I figured, why not? I had nothing better to do. So we set off to the other village, which wasn't too far, but the thing is, we had to walk past the cemetery to get there. When we got to the other village, I actually met this girl I liked. We hit it off pretty fast, chatting and laughing. The night was going well, and I kinda lost track of time. Before I knew it, it was already getting dark, but not completely pitch black. You know that time of night where it's still kinda light, but the sun's already gone down? Yeah, it was like that. My cousin decided to head back home a little earlier, but I stayed a bit longer to hang out with the girl. After about 30 minutes or so, I decided it was time to head back too. I didn't want to walk back too late by myself, and besides, I didn't want my aunt to worry. So I started the walk back home, and everything was fine until I got near the cemetery. As I got closer, I noticed something weird. Up ahead, I could see someone kneeling by one of the graves. It was strange because I didn't expect anyone to be out there at this time of night, especially at a cemetery. The figure was just kneeling there, head down, not moving at all. At first, I thought maybe it was a family member paying their respects or something. But the more I looked, the weirder it felt. You ever get that feeling where something just doesn't sit right? Still, I kept walking, thinking it was probably nothing. As I got closer to the grave, my stomach dropped. The person kneeling there, it looked like the guy who had just died, the one they buried a few days ago. I'm telling you, it was him, or at least, it looked exactly like him. His face was rotting just like how I remembered seeing it during the funeral, swollen, dark, decomposed, but unmistakably him. I stopped in my tracks, heart pounding, and just stared. I didn't know what to do. My mind was racing. Was I seeing things? Could this really be happening? The figure didn't move at first, just kept kneeling there with its head down. Then, out of nowhere, it lifted its head and looked straight at me. I don't think I've ever been that terrified in my life. His eyes, they were hollow, lifeless, but somehow staring right through me. I could feel a cold chill run down my body. It was like my body froze and I couldn't move. I don't know how long I stood there just locked in this stare with whatever that thing was. Eventually, I snapped out of it. I don't even remember how I did it, but my legs finally started working, and I just bolted. I ran as fast as I could, not even looking back. I didn't care if anyone saw me or if they thought I was crazy. All I knew was I had to get away from there. When I got back to my aunt's house, I was out of breath, heart still pounding in my chest. My aunt saw me and asked what was wrong, but I couldn't even explain it. I just mumbled something about being tired and went straight to bed. I didn't sleep much that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see his face, that rotten, decomposed face, staring back at me. I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination, that I had been seeing things because of the dark or something, but I knew what I saw was real. The next morning, I didn't mention anything to my aunt or my cousin. I didn't want to sound like a crazy person, you know? But from that day on, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I kept replaying the scene over and over in my head, trying to make sense of it. So about 3 days after that whole cemetery thing, nothing weird happened. No creepy figures, no strange noises, just peace and quiet. Honestly, I started to think maybe I imagined the whole thing. By the 3rd day, I was feeling pretty relieved, like, all right, everything's fine, I'm just overthinking it. But man, I spoke too soon. One night, I woke up in the middle of the night because I really had to use the bathroom. Not just a quick pee, but like number 2. You know the feeling? You wake up, and your stomach is doing flips, and there's no waiting. You have to go. The problem was my aunt didn't have a bathroom like we do in the US. There was no nice clean toilet with toilet paper. Nope. All she had was this tiny wooden outhouse, and it wasn't even usable at the time because it was broken. They were still fixing it up, so that meant there was no other option. I had to go outside, into the woods behind her house, and dig a hole. Yeah, you heard that right. I had to take a shovel and some paper towels with me and do my business in the forest. I didn't want to. I really didn't want to, but my stomach was killing me. I had no choice. So I grabbed a flashlight, took the shovel, paper towels, and headed out. It was so dark out there, it made me feel uneasy, but I told myself, just get it over with. I found a spot a little ways into the trees, crouched down, and started digging my hole. It felt awkward as hell, squatting out there in the middle of nowhere, but I was focused on getting it done as fast as possible. I was halfway through when I heard something, this sharp snap, like a branch breaking. I froze. I tried to tell myself it was probably just an animal or something, but I kept having the feeling that someone or something was watching me. My heart started racing, but I couldn't exactly stop what I was doing, you know? So I hurried up, finished, and reached for the paper towels to clean myself up. I was almost done cleaning myself up when I heard something again. That's when I smelled it, that same rotten stench from a few nights ago. The smell was so strong, it made me gag. My hands were shaking, but I grabbed my flashlight and shined it around, looking for whatever was making that awful smell. I pointed the light up into the trees, and there it was, a face. Not just any face, though. It was the same face I saw at the cemetery, the guy who had died and been buried just a few days ago. His decomposed face was looking down at me from the top of a tree, eyes hollow, skin sagging and swollen with rot. I panicked. My body went into overdrive and I bolted. I didn't even bother covering up the hole I had just dug. I just ran, shoveling paper towels in hand, sprinting back toward the house as fast as I could. When I got inside, I was shaking. My aunt was already asleep, but I woke her up babbling about what I'd seen. She listened to me, calm as could be, like she'd heard this kind of thing before. She didn't question it at all. She just nodded, got up, and grabbed some incense from a little shelf in the corner of the room. Without saying a word, she went outside and lit the incense, whispering some kind of chant under her breath. I couldn't understand what she was saying, but it sounded like some kind of prayer or ritual to the ancestors. She waved the incense around and then came back inside. That night, my aunt stayed up, chanting every so often while I tried to sleep. I kept having a feeling that the thing in the tree had followed me home. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that face again, those hollow, rotting eyes staring at me. I don't know how I managed to get any sleep at all, but I must have passed out from sheer exhaustion at some point. In the morning, my aunt was already up. She was in the kitchen, boiling water and getting things ready for breakfast. But before we ate, she did something else. She cooked a whole chicken and placed it on a little altar in the corner of the house. When I asked her why, she said it was a way to bring my soul back, like my spirit had been scared out of me or something. It was an old tradition, she explained, to make sure nothing bad stayed attached to me. I didn't argue with her. I just went along with it. After what I'd seen, I wasn't about to question anything. Not long after that, I decided to leave. I told my aunt I was going to hang out with another cousin in the main city for a while, and she didn't stop me. She just smiled and told me to take care of myself. So I packed my things and headed to the city, spent the next few weeks there trying to forget everything that happened. A month or so later, I finally went back home to the US. But even now, every time I think about that trip to Laos, I get chills. The face I saw in that tree, the smell of death that followed me, it's something that'll stick with me forever. I still don't know if it was real or if my mind was playing tricks on me, but either way, it's not something I'll forget anytime soon. Thank you for listening to this video. I'll see you in the next one.